You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
I am back. Rodrance for Black and White Sports 2. Very quickly before we get started with the subject of said video, let me thank everybody for this, the growth on this channel. It's been unbelievable. We just crossed 20,000 subs. Wow. And always remember, this channel is the other sports channel. It's got TOO on it, not TWO. We absolutely want this channel to give the bigger channel an absolute run for its money. Got 190,000, almost 200,000 subs over there. We would love for this channel to give a run to that other channel. This is a little bit different topics, more UFC, more WWE, more AEW, more wrestling, and a lot of NFL and pro football on this channel. And that's how the brand is being built on this channel. And more controversial stuff over there, a little bit more X's and O's, and I love transactions and the draft and talking quarterbacks and all that kind of thing, right? Lamar Jackson, Aaron Rodgers, KYLER Murray. Now, we've got Steve Keim coming out making some comments. Now, I'm going to be the first to say he's the former GM of the Arizona Cardinals. He's responsible for drafting this dude. And even at that, does he have overwhelmingly great things to say about KYLER Murray? Nah, he sort of shits on him, to be honest with you. And I'm like, wow. You're the guy, and this is just kind of indicative of where the Cardinals are right now. This franchise is a dumpster fire in the same way that the Cleveland Browns are. I mean, you've got a guy that's got a massive hindering anchor of a contract, and you can tell the former general manager that gave him said contract is not even sold on him. And you got Michael Bidwell staring down a scandal. You got the fact that people are still wondering whether or not, the coach that got fired in Mexico was a mistaken identity with Steve Keim. That's all still a thing, okay? I mean, this organization is a nightmare. Sean Payton, Demeco Ryans did not want this job because of KYLER Murray. And now he's anchored down the franchise with a $230 large contract. And you can tell there was an absolute reason that they put that study clause in the damn contract. Because of things like he's going to say here. This was not a ringing endorsement, which is shocking when you consider the contract. Now, KYLER Murray's been called out by Cardinals legend Patrick Peterson. Kelvin Beachum did not have rave reviews for this guy. Said he's really got to work on his leadership. And when all of that attention came on KYLER Murray over his study habits, and Steve Keim still has this to say, KYLER Murray works, but his attention to detail and film study can improve. Yikes! The Cardinals are in a true bad situation with this contract. They really are. The Cardinals infamously placed an independent study addendum in KYLER Murray's contract last summer. This is PFT. It required the quarterback to spend at least 4 hours per week on his own without distraction to study game material. I bet you Tom Brady would be like 4 hours a week? Question mark? How about 4 hours a day? That's the way this works to be a franchise NFL quarterback. After the homework clause received backlash, after it became public, the Cardinals announced they were removing it. And that's just another thing. Do you really believe Jerry Jones would have removed that clause? No. No, he wouldn't have. In fact, he may or may not have even acknowledged the fact that the media was making it an issue. It nonetheless prompted an obvious question about Murray's work ethic. Former general manager Steve Keim was the one who drafted Murray first overall and gave him a massive contract extension that originally included the study clause. No longer with the team, Keim addressed Murray during an appearance on Green Lights podcast with Chris Long. Yeah, that's a pretty good podcast. I've heard it a few times. Keim reiterated what right tackle Kelvin Beachum said last month about Murray, quote, needs to grow up a little bit. Yikes. Quote, he still needs to grow. Beachum's comments are not slanted towards Murray's character, Keim said on the podcast via ArizonaSports.com. He's not a bad guy. He's a good kid and has a good smile. Wait a minute. What? He has a good smile? What in the pit of Hades does that have to do with being a franchise all-pro quarterback? He has a good smile? Man, I wouldn't give a damn if this guy looks like he's continuously trying to get out a bad turd. If he goes out there and throws 40 touchdowns. I mean, come on. I'm sorry. I'm not factoring that into my franchise, my outline of things I look for in a franchise quarterback. He's got a great smile. Okay. He's not a bad guy. He's a good kid. He has a great smile, a good smile. Has a nice way about him. Okay. I think it's like anything. Guys have to continue to learn what it's going to take to be great. Does he know what Tom Brady and Peyton Manning know what it takes to be great? No. Okay. Well, why hasn't either the Cardinals and or him gotten with these guys to try to figure it out? I mean, do we really think if Kyler Murray calls up Peyton Manning's going to be like, nah, don't want to talk to you? I think Peyton would take the time and have a however often conversation he needed to have. Does he work? He does work. I think it's just that side of the game, the film study, the attention to detail part that can continue to improve upon, and I think he will. Kyler's a proud guy, man. He doesn't want to lose, and he doesn't want to let people down. So, let me get this straight. Kyler Murray very publicly, obviously, had his attention to detail, his work ethic, called into question, and to the point that the club actually did something responsible, which the Cardinals don't seem to do very often, but actually did something responsible and put a clause in there to try to motivate him to study. And this joker, Steve Keim, is saying it's still an issue. It's still an issue. Man, I got to tell you, this is going to... Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray, all three of those contracts are literally running neck and neck down a race to be the worst contracts in the NFL. It's only a matter of time. We don't know which one's gonna pull it out at the end. My gut feeling is Watson's going to be the one that wins that race, because I just absolutely believe that like another 6 chicks are going to come out about some massage shit. I am waiting on that. I'm bracing on it. I don't know that it'll happen, but I just think it's going to be the off-field things that makes Watson's contract the worst out of the three. And I think there's always a chance that Russell Wilson and Sean Payton do work out. Murray, 25, is working his way back from a season-ending anterior cruciate ligament tear that ended his 2022 season prematurely. He twice made a Pro Bowl, but has led the Cardinals to only one postseason game where Murray played the worst game of his career. Quote, "You've got to think he's headed in the right direction." You got to think? Keim said, "I just thought he kept getting better and better and better. There's just some times of inconsistency with him. Obviously, the height hurts him at times, seeing over the line and processing and seeing the field. But at the same time, he's just a tremendous talent, The stuff he does, you see in practice and games, is off the charts. That goes back to Bryce Young. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, Bryce Young is more mature already than Kyler Murray. Okay? So at least that's one part. There's no confusion about how hard that kid works, or his attention to detail, or his work ethic. No confusion. But obviously, it's still way up in the air with Kyler Murray, and the fact that this guy was handed that big of a contract. I mean, guys, we got to remember, Carson Wentz got paid. You remember? Carson Wentz, boom, got a big-ass contract. He doesn't even have a team right now. So this can go badly very quickly, all right? And it's kind of weird, and you're seeing it right now with Anthony Richardson. He could be the best physical attributes quarterback we have ever seen. Does he study like Tom Brady? Is he mature like Peyton Manning? I'm just wondering, what's his work ethic like? Is his work ethic like Joe Montana's? These are the things. It's a lot of this intangible stuff. Is there a fire? Is there a hunger? Is there a chip on his shoulder? You know, it's so much of the, can he process? You know, does he spend, he's been at the facility 10 hours today. He's leaving, but we've logged into his machine the next day and can tell he studied 3.5, 4, 5.5 hours after he got home, and he didn't log off of it till 10:45 at night. But yet he was back in the facility at 4 a.m., 5 a.m. if he's late. I mean, that's the kind of thing, never mind physical attributes, that's the kind of thing that leads to a successful all-pro, not Pro Bowl. Let's stop with the Pro Bowl thing. The Pro Bowl is a joke and has been for what? 5 years now, probably, at least. So let's talk all-pro. All right? If we were talking two-time all-pro, there'd be something to talk about, but we're not. And it's the one thing that scares me about Bryce Young, the physical side, the shortness. All right? I mean, hell, I'm 5'11 and a half. I'm taller than him. All right? But it's the one thing even I worry about with Bryce Young is the shortness. And Kyler Murray, you know, the dirty little secret around the NFL is the fact that half of all NFL teams did not even have Kyler Murray as a draftable quarterback because of his height and his size. Here we are dealing with an injury. And it's not to say quarterbacks don't get injured. Of course they do. But he just said, we gave $230 million to a quarterback that has trouble processing, doesn't have attention to detail like he should, like a franchise quarterback should. He's going into what, his 5th year? Why did they extend him? It could go down as one of the worst contract extensions in the history of the NFL. Never mind, you missed out on Demeco Ryans and you missed out on Sean Payton. Even Brian Flores didn't want the job. And I can say a lot of things I don't like about Brian Flores, but he's a hell of a football coach, and he's certainly a hell of a defensive coach. He didn't want to coach Kyler Murray, probably because he knew, and I'll say this, the one thing about Brian Flores is he is hardcore. He made Tua Tagovailoa's life a living hell. He would have destroyed Kyler Murray. I mean, and he took himself out of the running. So did Sean Payton. I mean, it came out that Sean Payton did not want to coach Kyler Murray. One of the worst decisions ever. And it's Steve Keim's fault. He's got a ton of problems, too. This former general manager has got a ton of problems. And it's on him that he gave this contract and that he drafted him to begin with. Man. Physical attributes. Oh, he's got quickness. He's twitchy. He's lazy. I mean, come on. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.